here with us in person and all of you watching us online there. Today we have with us two of our brothers. I'm going to introduce Brother Viraj, who comes from our monastery, which is in Chandigarh. And Viraj is a student of engineering from IIT Kharagpur, and now, since 2 years, he's a disciple of Paramhansa Yogananda, and he's serving full time with all our monks in Chandigarh in the monastery, Ananda Monastery that we have there. So, Brother Viraj is going to take us and begin with a prayer and a chant. Over to you, Brother Viraj.
Thank you. Let us pray together. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, Friend Beloved God, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Shri Yukteswar, Beloved Guru, Paramhansa Yogananda, Saints of all religion, Friend and Guide, Swami Kriyananda, we humbly bow to you all. Bless this gathering today with your grace. Help us to attune with your vibrations. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. The chant is, I am the bubble, make me the sea. I am the bubble, make me the sea. I am the bubble, make me the sea. Make me the sea, oh make me the sea. Make me the sea, oh make me the sea. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. I am the bubble, make me the sea. I am the bubble, make me the sea. So do thou, my Lord. So do thou, my Lord. Thou and I never apart. Thou and I never apart. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. I am the bubble, make me the sea. I am the bubble, make me the sea. Make me the sea, oh make me the sea. Make me the sea, oh make me the sea. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. I am the bubble, make me the sea. I am the bubble, make me the sea. So do thou, my Lord. So do thou, my Lord. Thou and I never apart. Thou and I never apart. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. I am the bubble, make me the sea. I am the bubble, make me the sea. Make me the sea, oh make me the sea. Make me the sea, oh make me the sea. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. I am the bubble, make me the sea. I am the bubble, make me the sea. So do thou, my Lord, so do thou, my Lord, thou and I never apart, thou and I never apart. Wave of the sea dissolve in the sea, wave of the sea dissolve in the sea. I am the bubble, make me 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 the sea. Let us meditate for 5 minutes. Om.
Thank you, Viraj. And now would like to introduce Nayaswami Shankara. Nayaswami Shankara graduated from Yale University and with a degree of mechanical engineering. He was the head of Ananda Monastery from 2007 until 2015. Is this good, Kamal? Thank you. Until 2015. And he, along with Nayaswami Devarshi, started the home study course in 2016. And through this course, thousands of people learned how to meditate. And I'm sure this course is still going very, very strong and just expanding with Master's grace and all the effort put by the team. So thank you, Team Home Study. And to also say that Nayaswami Shankara came on the path on 2002. He received his Kriya in 2004, and since then he is walking this path, and he has dedicated his life serving Swami Kriyananda and Paramhansa Yogananda. Well then, happy 20th to you. So he's going to walk us through today the spirit of spiritual community, and I would like to welcome Nayaswami Shankara now. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here with all of you. Okay, am I loud enough? Because I can be louder, but I don't want to scare people either. So how many of you here actually stay here in Mud Island? Kamal, I know you don't. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, just everybody just, okay, great. I'm so happy to hear that, because one of the things that I want to talk about today is this word intentional communities. That what we're building in Ananda are not places where, well, it just kind of happened, I don't know, just kind of showed up, but where each member is making a conscious effort to want to be a better person, to become more spiritual, to learn and grow in all of the many different ways that we can. And so all of you this evening, you made an intention tonight to come, but way bigger than that, to move all the way over here to this side of Mumbai for a reason, to grow spiritually. And that right there is such a big, big step. It's really, really beautiful. I have so much to say. I actually do want to start, though, by reading something off of my phone from Swamiji. Yeah, I'll take that one while I pull up my... Lovely. Gosh, thank you. Thank you, thank you. So Niyati can send this to you, or maybe she already has. This is the first chapter of Cities of Light, and I'm reading it for two reasons. One, I love to bring Swamiji's consciousness in the beginning of whatever I do. I try to bring his consciousness in all of the time. Number two, I just get thrilled about communities every time I read this, that it starts off with imagine this, and I remember the first time I read this, I just thought, yes, wow, and yes, that would be good. Yes, and each one I just kept reading and thinking, yes. And I think many of us that we were born for Ananda, for Swamiji, for Master, for the planet at this time, to show people how to come together and not make this an imaginary thing, but show people how to do it. But anyways, a few of these are so important to me. Imagine a community of people who know how to cooperate joyfully together, with kindness in their hearts for one another, and for all those whom their lives touch. Imagine a city where, when someone needs help, everyone freely and lovingly joins in helping him. Imagine a city where human values are given first importance, and where the desire for joy and harmony and love are looked upon as needs, every bit as practical as material considerations. Imagine a city that doesn't place self-interest first, but that takes into account its impact on the well-being of society at large and adjusts its expectations to that greater good. And I think simply by deciding to move out here, those of you who have, that a part of that was, well, I won't place my self-interest first, that I will think about others. What can I do to serve others? And how can I help others? Rather than how can I be absolutely as close to my job as possible, or as close, as possible to my family. And those steps right there are big steps. Those are renunciate steps, actually. And this is one of the most fascinating things that Swamiji has brought to this planet, and Master brought, but Swamiji has really helped clarify it for us, is the true definition of renunciation, which means to renounce ego consciousness. And maybe I'll speak about this again and again this evening in this little talk here, but that has to be the core of what you guys are doing here. That there can be all kinds of outer things that we do. We come together and maybe we get more into music or more into serving this way or that way, or reading this book this week or whatever. And that's all great and good, and you guys get to figure all that out. But at the core of it, we always have to keep asking ourselves, why are we here? Why did I move over to this side of Mumbai? What's going on? Ego renunciation, in order to get rid of our egos. And that it doesn't matter what we wear or how long we've been on the spiritual path, that the thing is, how much ego can we renounce? How much of our actions, both good and bad, that we all make mistakes in life, but how much of all of that can we give to God? And communities are so important, because it's quite easy, at least for me, to read this book and get super enthusiastic and think, yes, this is the greatest thing. It's quite difficult to live it, actually. It is difficult in some ways to live in community, that because we are spiritual beings, that in the world, you say, that guy's so terrible. He did this and this, and all your friends will, yeah, that guy's terrible. Yeah. In a spiritual community, everybody will say, oh, really? That sounds a little bit negative. Are you sure you don't want to look in the mirror? And we begin to realize that who's the real problem? Each one of us. And that everyone around us is just a reflection of our own selves. And it's not our job to change all of these other people. When we get upset with someone or we think they're doing something wrong, there's really only one thing to change, and that's ourselves. And we have to introspect. And this is why living in community is difficult, but it's good. That Swamiji talks about stones in a river, that as they roll down the riverbed, they get smoother. And we will get smoother if we decide to look at our own selves in each difficult moment or whatever, and decide, okay, what do I need to do to change myself to become a better human being? And community is beautiful in this regard. Now, that's probably the negative way of looking at community. Of course, there's so many positive ways to look at community as well, in that there will be days where we maybe don't feel like meditating as much as normal. But we have a friend, come on, just like going to the gym. You ask, do I really need to buy that gym membership? The thing with that is, it's magnetism, that you're going into a space where others are working out and doing that type of thing. And so there's magnetism here that makes us want to meditate maybe more than we would on our own anyways, that helps us do good, wholesome activities for recreation, not watching movies that are very violent or very sexual or very God knows what is out there today. Just about anything goes on Netflix and things like that. And we ask ourselves, did that really make me more spiritual after watching that? Was that really a good idea? We know most of the time the answer is no. But now we have friends in spiritual community that can say, hey, why don't we go do this thing or that thing, or things that are more positive and uplifting? And we find spiritual friends in community. I was leading a pilgrimage for people from America and New Zealand and wherever. And we met the Mumbai group. I don't know if some of you were there, in Puri. And so, the leaders of all this were saying, okay, we're going to have a kirtan. We could not get people out of the front lobby. There was about 50 or 60 people. Now, why? people were meeting soul friends that they hadn't seen in this incarnation just for the first time. And it was like magnets, like, oh my gosh, how are you doing? So nice to meet you. Yes, yes. Oh, and you. And we were like, guys, we could talk later. We need to chat. And finally, we got all of that energy into a kirtan. It was a very beautiful kirtan. But here's another deep point about community, that Swamiji would say this is not the first time that we have done community together. Master said of friendship that if you have a deep friend, that it's not the first time, that you've been building that friendship for incarnations. That's really something to think about. And when we hit little bumps in our friendships, as we will, we need to think about all of the incarnations we've been building these friendships and not just throw it away. On the plane, I was listening to a talk of Master, and he was actually talking about the difficulties when Pakistan and India were divided, and he talked about the North and the South in America fighting, and then he said, and look at the problems that are still there today of that. And since I was born in America, it's easy for me to see that and understand that. And you think that was so many years ago. But what that made me think about is then every action that I take with friends, with other people, whatever, is it in tune? Is it in harmony with Master's will? And am I uplifting people? Because I can do negative things. We all can. Those can have big implications, incarnations later for ourselves, for the group that we are trying to give and give joy to. And so anyways, made me think. And so now as a community, what we do, it's no longer over there in the city. I'm not even sure if I'm pointing in the right direction, but you can almost do whatever you want, and you can get, I mean, depending on how strong your family unit is, if you're just living in an apartment on your own, you can basically do whatever you want. Nobody's going to know. You almost live in a vacuum. And that's one of the sad things about cities, in my opinion. You think that you move into one of these housing societies with all of these, people crammed in, and you would have more friends. But somehow something weird happens to that equation. People get more and more cold, and they don't talk as much. They don't help each other as much. So that's one side of it. The other side, what we have here is every little thing that you do, people know about it. And we shouldn't act well because, whatever, we care about what others are saying about us, honestly. We should act well because we want our lives to be pleasing to Master, to Guruji, to Swamiji, and that we want to be in harmony with them. And so as we get more and more in harmony with that, as we're giving harmonious actions, harmonious feelings, harmonious consciousness to the group at all time, instead of just thinking, what can I give? Then the group itself, it uplifts. And we have to be very conscious of this. And then we ourselves also, we grow from this because the channel is blessed by that which flows through it. And nothing like having spiritual friends that we can talk about spiritual things with them, and do that. Make a conscious effort to not talk about all the things that you read in the newspaper. Keep the conversation focused on spiritual things with your spiritual friends. You have no idea what an opportunity that you've been given in this incarnation, in this moment together here at Mud Island with Ananda and what's happening. It's a huge moment in time that you guys are setting an example for the rest of India. That's very, very, very important. That I cannot tell you how much Swamiji wanted these communities in India. He very, very, very much wanted that. And slowly we get to figure it out. We get to define how that happens, and that's fine. I can go into that later, but I want to come to this very important point, that the spirit of spiritual communities is everything. That if we think, oh, I'll just kind of show up, but on the inside, we're thinking, I can't believe that person did that, and this person's no good because of that, and did you see that person left meditation early? I'm such a better meditator. If we're having thoughts like that all of the time, we're not in the right spirit. And it's all right. We all have little bouts of negativity. Remember Master and Swamiji, when Master came to Swamiji and said, how are you doing? And Swamiji said, well, and he said, that's good. And he changed him right like that. We're not going to play with those negative emotions, these negative attitudes. Let's change it right here and right now. And we need to watch ourselves and watch, is negativity flowing through us or is positivity flowing through us? If negativity flows through even one of us, that can be very dangerous for an entire community, because we are magnetic beings. We have astral bodies. We are uplifting each other all of the time or pulling each other down all of the time, even if we're not speaking or making grumpy faces to one another. That our thoughts in a community, a spiritual community like this, are affecting everything. And we have to watch the spirit. And now, of course, it's a spiritual community. We can't change everybody else, but we can change ourselves. And one person who's positive all the time, this was Swami Kriyananda, always happy. One person who's always happy, always positive, always cheerful, can have such an effect, because that person will have more magnetism. People with negative energy, usually their energy gets dissipated and then they don't have a strong magnetism. But one person with a positive magnetism can come and help define the spirit of the group. And this is, you be that person. It's so easy to always look to the leader and just say, "Oh, I'm not the leader. It's your problem." But in a spiritual community, all of us in some ways are leaders, because we're showing how to be. By every little action that we do, if we decide to come to morning meditation or not, if we, whatever the case may be, if we're smiling, if we're cheerful, all of the little things that people don't see, they add up and they make the spirit of a community. And why did Swamiji want these communities? It's not for the outer effect so much. It's because it is a very quick way to grow spiritually, and we get to see our reflection in other spiritual people. There's a beautiful book by Kamala Silva called The Flawless Mirror. That's what she called Master, because he didn't have any defects within himself. So if she could stay positive on the inside, she could perfectly see it in him. And of course, if there was negativity there, she darn well knew it wasn't in him, that it was within her, and that it was something that she needed to work on. Speaking of that, being around masters, being around Swamiji, a person of such high energy, it's not easy. It is not easy. But one of the things, we also have a community. The monastery is a community in Chandigarh. I enjoy being around other high energy people, because we all have our defects. And so we might be high energy actually at physically running, and somebody else is like huffing and puffing out there if we all go running together. But somebody else might need less sleep. Somebody else might need less food. Somebody else can just sit there and focus on the laptop for so many hours, or whatever the case may be. So when we're all together, we say, oh, he's high energy like that, and it is possible to whatever, skip my dinner and not get grumpy, or whatever the case may be. And then we get to see, yes, and we get to say, I want this positive quality and this positive quality and this positive quality. It's a beautiful thing. The other beautiful thing about communities is we get to see what doesn't work, and you get to see long term, who is it that sticks in the community? Who stays on the spiritual path for an entire incarnation? All of these people that have been at Ananda Village for 50 plus years, that's something that I bow at their feet, that's not an easy thing, because we're dealing with our karma also, and we never know what's in there. And, life might just be sailing happy for 3 years, and then some karmic bomb comes. And what do we do when that karmic bomb comes? If we live in community, and if we have made many deep friendships with our Guru Bhais, we draw on the power of the Guru Bhais to help uplift us in that time. And hopefully we have money in the karmic bank that we have been helping our spiritual Guru Bhais, our spiritual friends, when they're down. We've been seeing, what can I do to help them and lift them up? And then in those difficult times, the Guru Bhais, the power of the community, will uplift us. But even deeper than that, even if you're not living here, that we always have Master, we always have our discipleship. When times get tough, that's the time to deepen our discipleship and to just pray to Master and give him all of our bad karma, all of our good karma, everything, and ask. When Swamiji was thrown out of SRF, there was a moment where he was lying on his bed just wanting to die. And a saint that great having a time like that, okay, we also then are going to have hard times. But then what did Swamiji do? How did he finally get out of that? That he made it because he felt like when he was thrown out of SRF that Master rejected him. He saw SRF as the body, and that, well, if the body said that you're no good, it must be, Master speaking through that. And so I've messed up and I'm no good in my guru's eyes anymore. And then if I'm not good in his eyes, I just want to die. It wasn't the case. Swamiji's mind was a little twisted, going through that very difficult thing. Happens to all of us. But how did Swamiji get out of this? I'm going back to deepening your discipleship. Swamiji made a choice in his heart. I always have a hard time talking about this one. I get a little emotional. But Swamiji said inwardly to Master, even if you don't love me, even if you've completely rejected me, I'm going to love you anyways, because I fully give myself to you, and I just choose to love you no matter what and be your disciple. I might be a messed up disciple, but I choose just to love you anyways. And that was the magic turning point that got him out of that bed. And then all things started changing. And then he realized that he was the one seeing things right. It wasn't that Master had rejected him. Master will never reject any of us, ever, ever. Master's here with us, but we have to open our hearts and we have to become perfect disciples. And so realize the purpose of this community, yes, as I said, is ego transcendence, figuring out how to dissolve our ego into the infinite. But how do we do that? Through discipleship. That the more that we can attune ourselves, good times, bad times, happy times, to Master, then the more that we can transcend ego. And watch this thing called life. There's going to be so many twists and turns and ups and downs, but at our center, we need to have a calm place that nothing can touch. And that center is your discipleship with Master. And Swamiji, once he found that place on the inside with Master, then he went through all kinds of other trials and tribulations. Of course he did. But he said, no one, and many have tried, have been able to take away my love for Master and that special place in my heart. And so I was saying that we get to see in community how people are high energy in different ways. We also get to see, and this is a very subtle thing, and it's the subtle things that make communities work. We get to see, how do people live the life? What makes this person more devoted and this person less devoted? And it's not singing loudly or proclaiming our love for Master so the whole world can hear. This actually needs to be a very secret little thing in your heart. But you see, when people go through hard times, what do? You see how in community, how people try to uplift others, or how they might disappear, but you can know what happens when they disappear in their room. If they're going in there and reading things of Master and praying to Master and chanting, or if they're turning on Netflix. I don't know why I'm so hard on Netflix today, but when you live in a community, when I first came out to Ananda, I lived with just one other person. It was just me and him. And I'm a pretty cheerful guy, and I would always ask him, hey, how are you? How's it going today? And he would say fine, but he never asked me, and that just turned out to be his temperament. But I thought, maybe people in Ananda they have this attunement with one another that they already know how everybody's doing. And so they don't ask each other. That turned out to be pure nonsense in my head on some level. I mean, of course, you live with so many people here now, we all love each other and we're outwardly friendly. But on another level, you all know Biraj here, right? One day, he and I lived for a long time together in the Pune community. So one day he said, my name is Jamal at that time, Jamal, how's it going? He's all cheerful and happy all the time. I said, okay. He said, oh, we know what okay means. We know what that means. And up to that point, I'd always been wondering, because when I was younger, I was pretty moody, actually. But I would, living in Ananda, be like, do they know? Can they tell? Like, I'm just going to smile and just try to put some cheer in my voice. Do they know? But that moment with Biraj there, I knew that he knew. And I knew that people around me knew. And I knew, like, it was one more incentive. I've got to get myself together here just a little bit more. And not because I care what people think about me, because I I want to uplift others. I want to be a member of this community, whatever, a cog in the wheel, whatever, a jigsaw puzzle piece, whatever you want to think of yourself as, but one that's here helping and not one that's pulling everybody down. And so, I realized I have more spiritual work to do. I still realize that today, and it's fine. I'm happy with that. When we see the little negative parts or the things that go wrong, then we can't just pretend, we realize, yeah, there are some things to work on. And we can be grateful for that. And we can pray to Master, and he will give us the strength to work these things out. Another point that I wanted to make here. I said Swamiji, that he had many trials and tribulations. The more spiritual you become, the more God's going to give you these things. And it sounds like, what? I didn't sign up for that. I signed up for joy and more joy and some peace, please. What are you talking about? But here's the deal. Here's how it works. If the stronger we get on the inside than the tests on the outside, then God ramps those up to see how are we doing on the inside. And when we pass, then he ramps them up even more. But we can have that place on the inside that never changes. I tell some stories all the time, so maybe some of you have heard this one, but when I first met Swamiji, there's part of me like, who is this guy? And I was also really struggling with divinity in a body, in a human. It's so easy to do the worship like, okay, they're no longer in a body, right? But when the person's right in front of you, it's like, you know every thought I have. You know all the thoughts I had when I was 3. You know all the desires. You know my past incarnations. You know the future, what I'm going to do. It's like, and that's all inside there. And you're kind of looking at this guy. Swamiji had this moment with Master, and Master just handed him an apple. But anyways, I had plenty of those moments with Swamiji. And so one of those, I needed to go to his home in Gorgon, and I had some business to do. And I saw him, and it was, he had just given a big lecture. And when he lectured, he was giving energy. And so physically, he was a little bit tired. And so he was eating, and he could kind of barely lift the fork to his mouth. And I looked over at him, and I mentally thought, I've caught him. That he talks about being all high energy and everything, and now he's not. And he looked over at me, and I realized this is when I realized he could read my mind. And he looked at me, and he said, on the inside, perfect joy, or something like that, perfect joy. And his eyes were twinkling and sparkling, and it was like universes inside of there. And I was like, oh my God, okay, he can read my mind. And I was judging him. That's not good. And there's something there on the inside, going back to these tests, that even when the outside's a hard, place, that on the inside, he's got something in there that seems to be happy all the time. And Swamiji was high energy also. Even in his days, there was a time he asked me to help him up the stairs, and he didn't need my help. It was just so he could exchange that magnetism, and I could feel. And literally, I felt he was dragging me up the stairs. And he was maybe about 80 at that time. I was maybe, I don't know, 28, 29. And he had tremendous energy. And to even try to understand Swamiji, you can't do it actually with your rational mind. You have to go into your heart. You have to open your heart, and you have to ask him to come. And many of you may not have met him personally. Doesn't matter, because the masters, the saints, they're omnipresent. Means they're here with us. Babaji, it's written in AY. Autobiography of a Yogi. We've got things going on in the monastery, private jokes. Anyways, Devarshiji said, I never use acronyms. And actually, it's a beautiful thing. I'm getting off track here, but Swamiji never used acronyms. He said it destroys the magnetism. Interesting. Anyways, now, where was I with this? I got myself off track. I didn't want to go there, but you guys were like, we want to know. Yes, so it's there that anyone, if you call his name, he responds. Think about that. Anytime any person is thinking, Babaji, boom, he's aware. He knows. It's the same with Swami Kriyananda. I say it, he's aware of it right now. I think it, he's aware of it. Isn't that fascinating? I mean, it is beyond comprehension with the intellect, but it's true. This is what omnipresence is. Anandamoy Ma talked about that. I forget this one exactly, but basically, like it's like in a crowd of people that then if someone shouted her name, that then her attention goes. But that's what it's like even if someone thinks her name. And so the point of all of that is they are here. They are with us. And it's our job to continually tune in, to be in tune. You guys have probably already heard this, but it's important that Master with the monks, that he didn't teach them, oh, here's the finest point of Hong Sa, that if you do this right, that then you'll go into samadhi. He again and again said, be in tune, be in tune. What are we trying to do in meditation with Hong Sa anyways? Get more in tune with Master. Let's bring it back to communities, that so we can go and get deep inside in tune with Hong Sa, but then we need to come out and we need to live the life, and we need to get to a place that whether we're eating a samosa or whether we're meditating very, very deeply, that we're attuning ourselves. We're offering that samosa to Master and feeling that he's the one who's eating that through us. And you guys don't have to do this here, but in the monastery, we eat in silence for that exact reason, that it's not a time to just get all outward and cheerful. There is time for that too. It's fine. It's a part of life. And in fact, I notice with the monks, sometimes I think we should talk more. That we went to a house, we got invited for lunch that day, and we're all just sitting there like, and our hosts had to be the ones doing all the talking. And I was like, we need to be good at both. We need to be good at talking when it's appropriate and not talking when it's appropriate, and not just get into habits. But we want whatever we're doing, we're talking, we're listening, whatever it is, to be feeling that it's Master who's doing that through us, and to become more and more magnetic and more cheerful. And I really believe that, I've spoken too long, but I also really believe that what you all are doing here, I said it before, but I want to say it again, is going to be a guiding light for many other places in India and abroad. That the world, it needs examples of people living together harmoniously. This is a huge change from Kali Yuga consciousness to Dwapara Yuga consciousness. It looks like that change is, well, I moved from my village where everyone gossips and there's not much work to do except farming, and I moved to the big busy city and I get a big job and I make a lot of money and run around real fast, and now I'm Dwapara. That's not really Dwapara. Cities aren't working. Mahatma Gandhi called them a cancer. Interestingly, if you look up from space, that they spread out the roads in the exact same way that cancer cells spread out, and cancer cells eat themselves from the center outward. And cities also that have been around for a very, very long time, that's where the slums form, where people aren't getting enough nutrition and are just having the hardest time in life. Anyways, interesting things. Cities are a cancer, and the world needs a new, different way of, but you have to show people. It's not enough just to talk about it. It's not enough just to talk about being spiritual. It's not enough just to talk about communities, that we need to bring those two things together and we need to live them. We need to show people what this is like. And when all of us come together like that, it becomes so magnetic. When I go to Ananda Village, I just feel just like super happy. And I believe it's Swami Kriyananda's vibrations. I believe that there's saints that live there. And there was a person who said, it sounds like even the birds are singing Swamiji's melodies here. I just feel like all of nature is just somehow uplifted there. And that cannot be the only place on the planet where we have that. It's not enough for me. You guys have probably heard this 100, like, okay, I've heard about how great Ananda Village is. Great. We need to do it here now. And it's one step slow at a time, working together, making decisions as a group. That's another one of these things in there. Imagine people that can make group decisions where everyone agrees, basically. It's not like that in the world. The world is do as I say, or, get out of my company or my family or whatever the case may be. But Ananda doesn't push people to be who they're not. It accepts them as they are, who they are. I told a few, I was reading Nayaswami Parvati's book, She just wrote a book called Say Yes to Life. It's basically about her experience on the spiritual path, but she's writing about Swamiji. I love it. I'm like getting a new perspective on Swamiji. But she said she's so grateful that Swamiji accepted all of those young hippie kids that were out there basically as they were, with all of their faults, all of their problems, that he took each one of them where they are. And feel that today also, wherever each one of us is, that perfect. You're right where you need to be. This is exactly how God wants it. Exactly. All of your other incarnations have brought you just right to this exact moment where you need to be. And now our only job is just to keep tuning in more and more to Swamiji. Let Swamiji, let Master now mold you. Like we have intentional communities, this also, it takes an act of intention. And I'm just here to inspire. I mean, but I do think it's a good idea for you guys also to think about, where are we going as this little group that's here together? And I'm sure you guys do talk about that and clarify it and figure these things out. Another thing that I wanted to talk about this evening is, in these relationships, as you talk about these things, as we live together in community, that we end up building trust with one another. And that also can be torn down so quickly. One angry word or this or that, and the years of trust that we've built with one another, it can go wrong. So we have to watch ourselves. But even if it does, it's okay. It's an opportunity to, okay, let's make this stronger. Swamiji would often talk about, if you break a bone, however the two bones come together to heal, they're actually stronger in that part than anywhere else. And so we can strengthen that. But if you want to do great things, that there has to be a group of people that has trust and this sense. And this is something, and we do need to look at Ananda Village also. Again, those people who've been doing this for 50 years, they know what they're doing. And one of the things they have a core group of people that are there for each other no matter what, that nothing can break them apart. I've heard people like Ashaji talk about, during the lawsuits, everything was coming at them. I mean, even they thought there was spies from SRF like living at Ananda Village, and then saying things and doing things, just everything you'd think of to break them apart. But nothing could break them apart because they had that innate, inherent trust with one another. And these also become just strong spiritual bonds that a community's formed on. There's a coffee table book. It's like big, and it's just pictures of Swamiji, basically. I don't know. What is it called? A Life of God. Maybe in God, or whatever the preposition is. We got there. Now, here's the point. When you flip through that book, you'll notice someone was flipping through this, and they told Davy G this actually, and they were like, lots of people have come and lots have gone. And the person was getting a little scared about the spiritual path, getting a little negative. Davy G said, yes, but flip through it again and look carefully. You'll see some of the same faces, a small little group that's always been there pretty much through the whole time. And when I heard that, I thought, I want to be part of that group. And that group, again, has that trust, that deep spiritual, I know I'm here for you and I know you're here for me through thick or thin or whatever's going to happen. And what is that rooted in? Some of the beautiful marriages that I see at Ananda Village and in Ananda in general, it's that the people, those two individuals, first and foremost love God in one another. And that's what forms these strong bonds. And that way, it gives us the strength and the power to just overcome all the strange little things that happen in life. So I don't know. I want to have time for questions, but love one another here. Learn to trust one another on these deep levels. Learn to be loyal to one another. That ultimately we have to be loyal to Master. But if we can't be loyal to one another, how do we think we're going to be loyal to Master? And again, when we're being loyal to one another, we're being loyal to Master in those people. And there's a spark of God and Master in every single person. And that spark is flawless. And you can love that spark no matter what happens on the outside. And then just keep going. Never give up. Just never, ever, ever give up. And what are we never giving up? The core principles. That you can give up on some of the little outer things that define what makes this community right now. It's okay. Life's going to change. Change is the only constant. But there's another constant, and that's God, that is beyond all change. And so if we can stay rooted to those principles and just stay with the Masters, that I just feel they have a great work to do through everyone here, that great, great things are trying to happen here in Ananda Mumbai from everywhere. I could talk all night about this, but I have another class that I have to actually go to at 7:30. But I'm here for the entire weekend. We can have little conversations. My life is dedicated to Swamiji, to fulfilling his mission. My life has no other purpose than to tune into Swamiji and, just become more and more of him and then do his will. But I want to work with others, and this is not just my mission, it's all of our mission. And I love working with people who also just want to do that same thing. And okay, I'm trying to wind down here, but if you've seen the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, that in the front, I think, even on the cover or something, it says like, millions will find God through this. I know, I have seen it. I used to actually stress myself out about that because I would think, okay, we're advertising on Facebook and, only like whatever number saw this ad, like, how are millions going to find God if we can't even reach millions on Facebook? It's like, we have such a big job to do here. Like, how are we going to do this? And recently I was listening to Swamiji on YouTube, and he said, obviously this is going to take generations. And I was like, oh, yeah. Okay, I can relax here. But then that also made me feel, okay, if it's going to take generations, we need to preserve the core of this and be doing Swamiji's will, that our generation has to do Swamiji's will, so the next generation can do Swamiji's will and be very clear on what that is, and so that we can get to that point that still has the spiritual power where millions will find God, become Jivan Muktas through Master's power. And it's not going to just be enough to read that book. I mean, yeah, okay, maybe Master can touch a couple that way or something, but at least I know for me, I'm going to need to read that book and then be in community and live the life and have people that I can help on the highest levels and see where my defects are and ask all of you for help and let's fix this. Nayaswami Haridas said, Haridas is a group project. The only way he's going to find liberation is if all of you help, because he can't do it on his own. And I feel the exact same way, that there's no way we on ourselves can achieve liberation, that we need one another. We need each other on these deep, deep spiritual levels to help each other find our ways home, because each one of us, we have different parts of the keys. And when we all come together, then we make that Jivan Mukta as a group, and then we get to tune into that power. And I'm ending, I swear, that we can become Jivan Muktas. Believe that, strive for that, work together as a group to help one another achieve that. So I'm ending. Let's take time for questions. I have some time, but I do then need to go to this. I have a Kolkata commitment, which is why we started early. Thank you all for shifting this as well. I appreciate that. Okay.
So today in our group we have Jai Shri, right?
Oh, yeah.
So we have Jai Shri, who has just shifted to Raheja, right here on the first row.
Acha, thank you.
And she has just shifted to Raheja.
Congratulations. Good decision. Okay.
And maybe something that if she would like to be a part of the spiritual community and how to go about it, because yet she's not a part of the spiritual community. How would you kind of
Okay.
say about
So
that?
I can't comment if you guys are making like rules and regulations, it's like that's not my deal. You guys got to figure that out. It is important for everybody to study the Sadhaka order, Sevaka order for the principles in that. We as Ananda India and each one of these little communities that are forming and starting will figure out how that all works like on the technical side. But you as an individual, I need to, before, so there's the technical side where like, and Ananda as it goes, we will get more rules. I hope we don't get too many rules because Master said, don't make too many rules. They destroy the spirit, which is the topic, of today. And that we all just want to have the right spirit. And that's the answer, have the right spirit. So Nayaswami Parvati, when she came to Ananda, she just came. She just showed, she didn't even ask because didn't want anyone to tell her no, because she knew that was her home. So she didn't even, she just showed up and then started helping, just seeing where can I help? Where can I help? Where can I help? And then at some point, somebody was like, okay, we need to like officially have some kind of meeting. Are you in or are you out? So she, and her partner, they go to this meeting and she was terrified. Like, are they going to accept me? And it sounds like from that meeting, there wasn't any like, okay, we're going to have a committee and we're going to fill up forms and we're going to see how many number of Kriyas you're doing. So I was just like, oh, should we accept them? Yeah. Okay. And community really is a spirit thing. And that if we make our spirit right, remember this also, organizations aren't always the easiest thing. But remember who's in charge, really, who's in charge? Master. And that our life is to please Master. Now, let's take the flip side of that. If you live in community and you're like, yeah, but I feel Master's pleased. And 99 of the other community members are like not coming near you and, aren't really happy with you. And you've made 99 enemies instead of 99 friends. One would have to think that maybe Master's like not so pleased. And again, it's the sounding board that we have in community that we get to see. But if you dedicate your life perfectly to Master, and that, by the way, means today, the most perfect person you know how to be today, then the days will take care of themselves. The minutes are more important than the years, Master said, and it will all add up and we will all transform into beautiful, beautiful people. But be in tune. Read a little something of Swamiji every day. Watch Swamiji on YouTube. Read something of Master. They want to speak, not just to you, but to all of us. They want to speak to us. But we have to open that door and listen and give them the opportunity. And then we build a bank again on the inside of their sayings, of what it feels like, how they've touched our heart. And then when we need to draw on that bank, it's in there. But if we're not building it day by day, doing all of these right things, then it doesn't work. When I came, I studied Haridas and many other people like anything. They were so happy. I thought, how's that possible? This world's so messed up. How? And I studied, just like I was saying, I studied Swami Kriyananda. I studied them. I saw they're happy all the time and they had magic in their eyes. I said, I want to be like that. Okay, well, what are they doing? Okay, well, they wake up and go to morning meditation. I didn't like that so much, but okay, that's what he's doing. That's what I will do. He's chanting every day. That's what he's doing. That's what I will do. He in situations, he's trying to be an uplifting influence and making people laugh and bringing harmony. Okay, that's what I will do. So the point of this, and this is what community is about, study the ones you want to be like. See, not who are they, but what are they doing? How did they get there? And then emulate that. And then you become a teacher without having to stand in front of a microphone, that you teach by just what you do, who you are. And the spiritual path is about the subtle things. It's not about being able to memorize some book well and stand up here and say, Master said this, Master said that. It's about in the difficult times, how do we behave? And it's about all the little subtle things. I'll give you one example. I wanted to call him Nayaswami Primdas, but that's not. Nayaswami Primdas lives in America. Primdas. They used to live with us in the monastery, living in Hyderabad now. So we were all in Pune, all the monks for some whatever. And there was an office building they used to have on rent. And so we had some meeting there. So all 8 of us file through and whatever. I noticed some piece of trash on the ground and just thought, oh, like, not my deal. Like, I'm sure there's a guy here who collects the trash, whatever. And went in the meeting, came out of the meeting, and Vasudeva said to me, "Did you notice that trash isn't here anymore?" I said, "Oh, yeah." He said, "I think Premdas just made that disappear." I was like, "Really?" And then I just started realizing that there's people who just are doing all these good little things that just uplift the vibration in whatever kind of ways that you just wouldn't think about, and you start noticing. And then we decide that we want to do things not for outer recognition, but just it's the right thing to do, and it's dharma, and it's what God wants to do through us. So soak it up. Come and soak up all the goodness that is here. You're lucky. Very, very lucky. I don't say that lightly. It takes very good karma to want to know God. And even then, people are just reading books, like still having difficulties. And to come and be around all of these other very spiritual people, it's an opportunity. Any other questions? Yes.
I've heard Swamiji talk a lot about impersonal friendships, read about it. Many others have spoken about it. You spend so much time with him. Would you help us? Would you help explain what it actually means and what is your how to live, and how is it different from? See, we have all had and still continue to have friends, before we came on the path. So, and to whom we are quite close and we share everything. So how is it different from
Got
the
it.
regular friends that we have?
Got it. I can only do my best with this one because it's actually a very, very, very deep topic, in my opinion, that goes all the way to becoming a Jivan Mukta, of being able to balance the impersonal and the personal aspects of friendship. I'll just say this, once Narayani kind of, I don't want to use the word criticized because it helped me actually, but said that your relationship with Swamiji is too impersonal. She said this to me, and I still think about that comment to this day. But I purposely did that because I didn't just want to see Swamiji as some nice guy who, people would think Master was just, oh, he's a good cook. And they completely missed. And I saw so many people just stream through the ashram. I was like, oh, nice old guy. But I knew that there was something so much divine inside of Swamiji. And I didn't want to get confused and make the relationship so personal that then I would miss, then it's just like, hey, pal, how you doing today? I always wanted that reverence inside. And as I grew and understood who he was, it was like living with God. And that reverence grew and grew. And Narayan was right. I almost got to a point where I just felt like I'm with God, and like, okay, behave accordingly and really watch my thoughts on the inside and watch my energy and my heart and all of it. But I always wanted it to be like that. I agree with Narayani. I could have just relaxed a little bit, but that takes a certain level of spiritual refinement where you're comfortable in, I don't want to say your own godness or anything like that, because it's not right for us to say that we are God, because we're not. The wave can never say that it is the ocean. I mean, it's made of the ocean. The ocean's coming up inside of it. But the more we get more comfortable with that and we're not ourselves anymore, then we can also relate on a personal level. But Swamiji was master of this, because in his presence, you just felt like he was your best friend. It was a feeling that was so magnetic, and so it was so easy to get into that side of it, the personal side. But I think that this needs to be a balance. Let's go over to your friends now. Number one, in my opinion, choose friends wisely. I mean, on one level, we're friends with all, and we need to make sure that we absolutely are, and that even if people treat us terribly, that we watch our heart and we make sure that we still offer always our hand out in friendship, even though we're not supposed to shake hands. Whole totally different topic, but you know what I'm saying here, that in our heart that we're friends with everyone. But then your closest circle of community members, community friends, and in community also, you know, different people just be friends and like stronger than others, and it's fine. It's how it's supposed to be. But with those close level of friends, you want your close level of friends to be spiritual people, because we don't realize how much we're being affected by magnetism. And we want to be around people and then who have this high magnetism and spiritual magnetism. And then with that, it's fine, but to have these personal relationships. But I found there's a saying, familiarity breeds contempt. And if the relationships get too personal, there's bound to be like just problems. And we're born into families, and those are obviously going to be very deeply personal relationships, but we can learn even in that. I feel that with my earthly father, we found a nice space where it's almost like we're just friends now. And as he's older and I have to take care of him, you know, the roles reverse. I was tying his shoes one day. He's like, it's really reversed. I used to do this for you when you were a child. But that we're friends. We're friends seeking God together. And so in some way, I just feel that there is an impersonal element to it. Of course, that personal thing on some level will always have that father-son thing. But I even watch that because of the little things that we read in the New Path, where Master corrected Swamiji and said, "You mean your earthly father?" "Yes, sir," or whatever he said, I think something like that. Or maybe Swami corrected himself and said, "I mean my earthly father, sir," whatever the story is. "You have no father." Oh yeah, Master got strict. "You have no father." I meant my earthly father. So again, that's probably a good story right there of, sure, Swamiji still, he wasn't then just all cold to his father from then on, you know, that he would do the appropriate thing personally. But I'm sure also his relationship also went to a different level, and he saw there was an impersonal aspect. And that impersonal aspect also comes when we realize how much we've incarnated in the past together. And we think that right now we have this father-son thing, but it could have been all of the different things. It could be anything, and anything could happen in the future. And that it's just actually easier to truly love people if it's impersonal. But I asked Jyotishji this question also. Yeah. And he said also, like, there's no easy answer to this. He said that if you're too impersonal, it becomes cold, and it just, yeah, and it doesn't feel right.
There is no connection, then
yeah, and we have to watch the heart. We have to watch these feelings. Feeling is consciousness. We need to learn to refine that and feel it and grow it and become more and more subtly aware. So everything you said is true. And on the other hand, if it becomes too personal, attachment, it's bound to come, and then you'll be attached. I say this one every time I speak almost also, but listening to Master's talks, there's a time where he asked Rajarsi to talk, and Rajarsi at first said no. And then he, oh my God, I just contradicted my guru. So then the first thing that Rajarsi said is, "I have no desire to speak. I hope that I may never have a desire, for if I do, I will suffer." What, he doesn't even want to have one, and I'm thinking, I'm filled with these things. Oh my God, what's going to happen? But we're going to do Kriya, and we're going to offer these things up, and we're going to offer it all up to Swami, and it will work out. But that scares me. I hope that I may never have one singular desire, because I will suffer. And so if we love too personally, we get attached, we have desire. It's just what it is. We're going to suffer. And so it's, again, why we need the saints in our lives, to study them and see how do they navigate this balance. It's a fine balance. And it's why we have community. This is like so perfect that we get to do both. We're not going to just be cold with each other. And, you know, there's people that I've seen come through Ananda, deep meditators. Like, I'm scared to meditate next to them. I feel like I'm bothering them with my thoughts, let alone that I sometimes am restless. But they can, maybe God, who knows, like what they're doing with their energy and how close they are to just popping through the spiritual eye. But great ego can develop in that, where they're like, I'm so much better than all these restless Shankaras sitting next to me in meditation. Like, and then they go, and then the world must be their guru once again. And there's other people who aren't deep meditators, but they love God, and that they do their best to serve everybody and be good people. And you always should feel cheerful around them and uplifted. And so anyways, the point of that is that we can learn this balance in community. I thought of these people who meditate so much because it can become so impersonal then, where they're just looking at everybody else like, yeah, I just love God within you. But if we can't win the love of other people, we can't win God's love. So look, the answer to that one is we're all just going to keep living that one and figuring it out as we go, and we'll continue to grow together in that one. Yeah. Yes.
I moved to this community last year, and that time Narayani and Shurjo were there, and I felt that there is a strong hand holding.
Yes.
Like even if we don't talk or meet them every day, but once a week, just with a eye to eye, that compassionate look or this purification, a blessing. I may be delusional, but yeah, I feel since we are all still growing
Yes.
and we need a hand
Holding.
over us,
Yes.
holding.
Yes.
So I really miss that. Like I was very disheartened when they left, and it took me 3-4 months to come back to myself. But we are like children who are still like fish out of water. So don't you think that we need how Swami made the ministry and
I'm on
have
it on this
Naya
question.
Swami always here because the city demands.
Oh, it does. The city's intense.
And if you want this to be the community which is an example for India, then we need leaders.
Got it.
So, what do you say
well,
about it?
you're
Is
like,
it my delusion, or I have to change, or
I think you found the personal impersonal thing with Shurjo and Narayani even better than I have. When I first sat there, I was just looking at space. I was like, I miss Shurjo and Narayani. And then I was like, well, I'm just going to go see Shurjo anyways in a couple of minutes. So that's okay. But I miss Narayani. And then actually I was going through this whole like Shankara, impersonal, like love. We don't need to be attached here. We're all one forever. Now, here's what I really want to tell you though. People sometimes would say, Swamiji, like, you put me in this position and then you just left and like went to a CZ and put me in charge of this or that or whatever. And he would say, I never left you, that I was always there with you watching. And I feel a deep, deep love and respect for Shurjo and Narayani, and that they know what they're doing, and that the people that they have helped that are coming up as leaders here also know what they're doing, and that there are there's just subtle things going on that are hard to explain, but that everything, it will work out, and that Master will send who's needed, whenever's needed here to give the right guidance. It might be a very practical question that you guys are all struggling with, but here's another important thing about community. It's so easy to draw a little circle. Okay, this is the community now. We must remember that we're part of the greater Ananda worldwide community, and Master himself will send whoever's needed here at whatever time to help everybody here. But Master is working through all of you right now, and you will all grow into this space. Even, I'll say it, by tuning still into Shurjo and Narayani. I was in Bangalore a couple weeks ago, and I could feel Haridas and Roma's presence there. I even get goosebumps just even thinking about them. Even though they're physically in America right now, and they're like, we're retired. We're going into the last ashram here. We're just going to meditate deeply. Fair enough, but they're not gone. That I feel their presence, Haridas and Roma, through all of the people in Bangalore when we were there planning and working together and doing things together. And all of you here, I think it's a beautiful thing to continue to feel Shurjo and Narayani. Now, yeah, that's true. You can't call them and say, what should we do for this decision or that, like every 3 seconds. But all of us are beings more than just meets the eye. And we need to draw on the subtle aspects of one another as well. And don't feel that Shurjo and Narayani are just like going to let you guys figure it out too much, where things might get a little iffy. Don't feel that Dhyanaji, myself, Devarshiji, Aditya, Jayaji, now actually the meeting we had this morning, he's like, I'm there with you guys in spirit, but he is, and we can call him, and don't deny that. And so all of these names that I just named, and obviously Jyotishji, Deviji, nobody's going to let things just like drift off into some strange space. Everything is going to turn out fine. Believe in that, please, because with magnetism, we can attract. Fear is a magnet. I'm afraid now that things are different, that things might not go in the way that they used to. Well, they're not going to go in the way that they used to. They're going to go in a new way. But we can all affirm that they're going to go in the way that Master wants, and even in a better way. Don't think that Shurjo might be listening to me right now, but don't think that he and Narayani are going to be like, oh my God, it got better. That means like they're going to take that personally, like we didn't do a good job. They're going to look at that as we planted a good seed and we are happy about it. They want for things to get even better and better and better here. And it's the same with the seeds that Swamiji and Master planted as well. Master's community didn't even take off in the beginning. And why? I was studying the other day. Swamiji said because people weren't in tune. It wasn't that Master's idea was wrong or at the wrong time or whatever, on one way of looking at it. It's because the people trying to execute the thing weren't in tune with Master. But Master knew everything also. It'll happen then in a different time. It's fine. So you have a responsibility to believe, to affirm that things are going to be the best. I mean, do affirmations. There was a time Ananda India had no money, zero. Dhyanaji got people together and was like, we are going to open up that affirmation on money and we're going to say this together. And some of the people were like, yeah, but we have no money. Like, why are we just going to chant here all day? We have no money. She was like, do this. We're going to do these affirmations. And it worked. She changed everything around with those affirmations, with the power of understanding magnetism. So you have as much responsibility in this as everybody else. And Shurjo and Narayani, they will continue to help you. I can promise that. In spirit.
Thank you.
Yes. Us. Okay. Let's wrap this up. Thank you all for coming. Why don't we just close for a healing prayer here, or we'll just do a healing prayer, just visualizing all of us. So please sit upright and focus at the spiritual eye, and let's visualize this community filled with the spirit of all of the great ones who have gone before us. Let's see all of our Guru Bhais filled with Master's light, becoming ever more joyful, becoming ever more spiritually free. Let's see all of these great souls together, this light culminating and radiating out to all of Mumbai, all of India, everywhere, all of the world, everywhere. See Master's light, feel it here and feel it in everyone. And let's strengthen this visualization by saying Master's healing prayer together. Repeat after me. Divine Mother, thou art omnipresent. Thou art in this community. Manifest thy healing energy in all bodies, in all minds, and in all souls. Let's rub our hands together. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you all for bringing out the goodness in me. I appreciate it.